Hello guys, so I'm back again making a video. Today I'll be using my selfie stick. I bought this very cheap stick in live in South Africa, and I paid I think it was 80 rand for the selfie stick. So yeah, cool. I have to go on low budget. I'm using it with my A12 Samsung phone, which is for information the most expensive phone I ever had. Uh, However, sometimes people or my wife will say, you don't spend money on things, but you will spend money on other things. For example, I will buy a very cheap phone because for my practical use, I do not need more than this. Uh, and I don't see the point in spending like 5 times more to get a slight improvement. However, if I need something like a car, also I will always get a lot of gadgetry. A car with gadgets that costs a lot more, and it's quite strange and much. So for me, it's about practicality mostly. So, anyways, I just drifted into all that crap. But point is, today I want to talk about this book a little bit that I wrote, and this YouTube channel, and one interesting point how to identify like one aspect of autism. As I don't know who has watched any of my videos, you will know I'm autistic, and I'm 52, and I've been diagnosed at 45. So just one interesting point that is like a quick way to find out if you might be on the spectrum. So first off, I wrote this book. You can check, you can read there what's the name, and I'm gonna turn it around till it's focused. And if you want to read what it's about, you can just pause the screen. So the reason why, biggest reason why I wrote the book was to help me to defragment my thoughts and to organize all the traumas and nice things and everything that happened, because at 42, sometimes I just have to stop the video because there's a noise, and I've decided I'm not going to edit any videos much. I just want to leave it like authentic and natural, how the thoughts came. No need to edit it and speak fast and everything. So there'll be like confusion sometimes in my thoughts while you watch the video, but remember, it's not much editing happening. So I'm sitting in this room which is close to the road, and there's a lot of noise, so in between I have to pause it. And now you can see I'm standing, and the selfie stick is quite cool, works. So when I decided to write that book, I decided because I needed to, let my kids also know my story. And I'm not someone who reads a lot. Actually, I haven't read a book for, I think the last book I read was Warrior Cats. And this is a kiddies series. And this was, I think, in 2014 when I read a few of them. I don't like reading now lately. I would read stuff that interests me, but not a complete novel. So when I decided to write a book, I didn't, want to read many other books and see how other writers write. I wanted to just write how I am, so my kids can know who I am, and I can really find out what was bothering me and how to use my happy years, which I thought was my childhood years, to help me as an adult. And in there, when I wrote it, there's a lot of detail, and there are some funny stories in, like at the pool, and I'm not going to go into that today. But so that was the book. When you read it, if you read it, you can see it relates to everyday life of a nobody. Me, I'm a nobody. If I think back, I grew up in South Africa, in Cape Town, and but compared to my parents, I think I did quite well. I mean, they were also obviously uh, underprivileged and oppressed as non-whites in Cape Town at that point. And my father went to school for 7 years, my mother for 5 years, and if you think I finished university, became an electrical engineer, and worked 20 years like in many countries in the world as an engineer. So relative to them, I did a lot more, and that's thanks to them because they directed, everybody in our family that education is important and all those things. So I achieved quite a bit compared to them. Just for example, my father never owned a house in his life, even though houses for interest sake in South Africa can start off at now it's 2022 and a house you can buy depending where. But for example, in Cape Town, an average to middle in the range could be like 1 million rand, which is like less than, how much is that, like divided by 15 to get dollars, so quite a little. And even that amount, my father never managed to own a house like this, and I did. So I did a lot compared to him, but relative to like important people, I'm nothing. I'm a nobody. So I'm just writing the story of a nobody who tried to get out of his little box and do something else. And I think that was quite cool. On the other side, I like doing not engine, like physical stuff. So I also became a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's like also quite an achievement. There's not a lot of them around. That is my hobby that I like doing. So when I wrote a book, I didn't want to pollute it with not pollute in the sense like with other people's ideas of how to write. So in the same way, when I'm doing this channel, I do not want to watch or do what others are doing, and I don't watch them. I don't know how they make their channel, so I'm just want to do what comes, like flows to me. So I try to do it as a non-editing video, and maybe you will get some interesting stuff from it, maybe not, I don't know. But I will be talking about how I see things, what was interesting to me, and in the various countries I've been to over like 20 years. Like I said, I worked in many countries as an electrical engineer, and I've seen some things and lived in 3 countries. So how life was different in those 3 countries, and even the patterns that I see. So over time I'll talk about this. But for today, I just want to talk about one thing, like a quick, interesting thing that might alert you to maybe being autistic, maybe not, maybe it's just something you do as well. For me, it's like, so I have to get to this, I want to talk about when my mother was alive. And I remember I might have been about 9 or 8 years old. And first of all, me and my mother is very important to me. I was very close to her. After I had my accident, we became kind of inseparable. I was with her all the time, and I'm autistic, so she was the one who knew how to calm me down. And people who just used to say I was like a mommy's boy, and she spoiled me and all this. But fact is, I was very close to her and I was with her all the time. So one day we were sitting in the room in the lounge, and we got some visitors. I think it's cousins or of her came to visit, and me and her we were watching TV, and the wind was blowing through the window, and they came in and to sit in the room, and then suddenly they were talking about, oh, it's so windy, and yeah, it's a very windy today and cold. I don't know, people like to talk about the weather for some reason, and then my mother said, yeah, it was so windy, and the wind was blowing the curtain, and that's why I just went up there and closed the window. And then I was thinking, no, that's not true, because what actually happened was I got up and closed the window and you didn't ask. And that bothered me, and I thought, maybe she forgot, or it got her confused. So I stopped the conversation, although I was a kid and not, supposedly talking with him. Stopped the conversation and told him immediately that no, I closed it because it was windy, and I could see my mother wasn't very like happy and like, oh, be quiet or something. But I guess I realize now that she probably, maybe she was thinking it's windy and found it clever that I closed the window. But now I realize this. But back then it was just that was incorrect and very important. I had to correct it, and maybe she would appreciate it. So in the same way, what happens when I talk to people and people tell me things, and as they start telling me, the event or whatever, like for example, now the day I was speaking to a friend, and he said that he is going to do research from somebody, and what I understood by that was that he knew the person, and he was going on, and then later he was talking about, oh, and this person is doing that and that, and he's on YouTube, and I was very confused, like, and I thought, okay, I have to ask him, like, if he knows this person, and then you can ask him if he knows this particular topic, because if he doesn't know this topic, then it makes no sense to ask him about, or try to find out about these things. And he was still talking, but at this point, that was the thoughts going in my head, and I didn't hear a thing after he said from this guy. I never heard what he was saying, so I stopped there and I asked him my question, and then a whole confusion happened, and because he said, no, if you have just listened to my whole point, you would know what I wanted to say. And I said, it doesn't work like that with me, because if I hear something that's confusing, my mind is going around with that something that's confusing me, and I cannot hear anything else what you're talking about. So it doesn't matter if I just listen to you ending, because he was rather upset that I've interrupted him and I don't listen. And this is something I get so much from many people. They say, oh, you must stop interrupting and you must learn to listen. But I say, no, it's not about interrupt. It's about, you talk, I don't understand something, and this something that I don't understand, it overwhelms everything else. I can't even hear anything else I was saying, because I'm trying to figure out what you said by this point. So I need to stop and tell you and clarify, what are you talking about at this point? And then if I understand it, then you can start talking again, or you can talk something else. But until this point, nothing matters. So if I wait, so if you talk, say this one thing in the first second, and then you talk for 10 minutes or 9 minutes, I don't know what you said. It's not, and it doesn't help me waiting. So this kind of generalized I just say advice for people, that you should give people the chance to finish what they want to say, and maybe will understand. Doesn't work for me. I don't know how it works for other autistic people, but for me it doesn't work, because as soon as I'm confused about one thing, that's all I think about. And if you talk, I hear nothing. So that's like maybe one point you should think about. If you're similar, then it could be that you also have autism, or maybe not, or you can just go and find out. So anyways, that's my video for today, and my selfie camera. Even if I'm walking, it's kind of cool. My head stays still, the back is moving, so I think it's still okay for people. Maybe I need to just hold it up a little bit more, I don't know. So I'll work on that. So anyways, if you like the video, then cool. If not, I hope you were not too bored watching it.